All right. This is our community's house. We are all guests in it here to serve our community. My name is Mike Little, Mayor of the District of North Vancouver. And so the pleasure falls to me to welcome you all here to our regular meeting of council for Tuesday, October 14th at 5 o'clock. We'd like to start off our meeting in a good way. So I've asked Councillor Hanson to read our land acknowledgement.
We respectfully acknowledge the original peoples of these lands and waters, specifically the Tsleil-Waututh, Squamish, and Musqueam, on whose unceded ancestral lands the District of North Vancouver is located. We value the opportunity to learn, share, and serve our community on these unceded lands.
Thank you, Councillor. Council, we have an agenda that's been circulated. Any errors or omissions from the agenda is presented. Hearing none, will someone move its adoption? Moved by Councillor Murray. Is there a seconder? Seconder? Okay, second by Councillor Back. Prepared to call the question. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. I guess I should say, because we don't normally have this many people in virtual. It's been a while since we've had this many in virtual. These meetings are held in a hybrid format. That means that members of the public, staff, and council can participate either in person or virtually. And we have several members of council that are traveling at this time or unavailable, but they are available through virtual. And so with councillors Back, Forbes, and Ma participating virtually today, you do have all 7 members of the council that will be participating in these proceedings this evening. This is listed as a special meeting, and what makes it a special meeting is that when we set out the year's agenda, we didn't actually have a meeting set for this night. Otherwise, it would be called a regular meeting of council. But because this meeting was added to replace the October 8th meeting, October 6th meeting, it gets listed as a special, but in all other ways, this is a regular meeting of the council with all the normal trappings. And so we do actually have the public input period that we would normally have at the beginning of a regular meeting of council included in this one as well. So the council preserves a period of up to 30 minutes at the front end of every regular meeting of council for interested people in our community to be able to speak and raise issues of concern. They have up to 3 minutes each to raise those concerns. To start us off, we usually do a sign up ahead of time where people can sign up ahead with the clerk, but at this point I actually have no other people who have signed up at the beginning of the meeting. And so I'll just check with the room here and with the virtual participants. Would anybody like to address this evening's council meeting? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move along with the agenda. Let's see, we're still on adoption of minutes, but I don't think we have any minutes that were circulated package. Okay, great. All right, so moving on with the regular reports on to item 4.1. This is the business license application denial for Unit 202, 1050 West 14th Street, North Vancouver, and looking to staff for some opening comments.
Thank you, Mayor Little, members of council, and good evening. Checkmark Accounting Inc. requested and was subsequently denied a business license as the subject property is zoned Comprehensive Development Zone 9 or CD9, which specifically does not permit offices for accountants. The zone definitions are included in tonight's report and agenda package. While the CD9 zone does not permit does permit a limited range of professional services such as architects, engineers, and surveyors, this zone has specifically been crafted to exclude other office uses such as lawyers, accountants, and financial institutions, and those uses instead being directed to other locations. In this case, as we do with all applicants, staff are happy to work with the applicant to help them locate an alternative location in a zone that supports this use. And there are numerous other properties in the community that support the proposed use, and I'm happy to respond to any questions of council. Thank you.
Okay, so council looking for someone to move motion. I can, oh, we actually have that. Okay, so the representatives from the property do have an opportunity to make a representation to council This is, I think actually, do I have a script for this? I thought I saw a quasi judicial setting. Okay. So, so if you're here from there, you're welcome to come up and make your representation. You have 5 minutes to address the council.
Good evening, esteemed members of this council, Mayor Mike Little. Thank you for the opportunity to let us speak today. My name is Aryan, and I am one of the directors of Checkmark Accounting, Inc. I am alongside my brother Ali Motadayani, and we are here to respectfully ask that you reconsider the denial of our business license. As per your own zoning bylaw, the CD9 zone is intended to support a limited range of office uses, which are safe, environmentally clean, and do not interact the general public or generate movements by large trucks. Our business fits that definition exactly. We are not a traditional accounting firm. We do not have a CPA working on site. We don't advertise walk-in tax services to the general public, and we don't promote our physical location. We operate quietly without foot traffic and serve businesses almost entirely online. As a quick background, I am a software developer by trade and attended Simon Fraser University for a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. And my brother worked at Sage Software for nearly 9 years, which is an accounting international corporation that develops software for accountants. He worked in the quality assurance and research and development department. Our primary focus is research and development. Much of our work involves assisting companies in preparing SHRED claims, which is scientific research and experimental development for federal and provincial programs. We also develop internal use accounting software tools and systems to help our clients, primarily in the automotive industry, to streamline their operations. These are technical and support services, not day-to-day accounting. Our clients then use what we help them develop to their CPAs for their own taxes. As per the CD9 guidelines, business support services, including research and development, are among the uses the zoning is intended to allow. We are environmentally clean, we generate no truck traffic, and we do not attract members of the public. In fact, we have far less foot traffic than many other businesses in the same complex. All we're asking is that council view our operations in context. We are not trying to bend the rules. We are actively trying to comply with both the spirit and the letter of CD9 zoning bylaw. We respectfully ask that you approve our license based on the true nature of our business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think I do have a couple of questions just to clarify. So you're already up and running in this space, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And your argument is that you're actually a tech firm, even though you have accounting in your name, but you're actually a tech firm supporting the industry generally. You're not actually an accounting office.
No. We develop software for accountants. We develop software for clients that use accounting services. We deal with the SHRED claims, as I mentioned.
Okay. All right. I think it's reasonable. Any other questions of clarification? Yeah.
You found this space, you used a realtor?
No.
You just found it on your own? And did you come to the municipality to check on what the uses were, or did you read the zoning on the website and that sort of led you to determining that you guys were gonna fall under?
I actually went to the city hall. I asked them for the address, I gave them the 14th Street address. I'm assuming they looked at this 14th Street of Lonsdale. They said, yep, that's okay to use it.
Oh, so you were in the wrong, you got information from the wrong
We got it from the
municipality?
city, and then we had signed with the district. We weren't aware that we came to the wrong municipality.
Oh, I don't want to say that A word, but it's amalgamation if you don't know what it is. Oh, okay, I haven't heard that one before. That's an interesting one because we both have a 14th Street. And you gave them the address?
I gave them the address. After they approved it, we signed a lease with the landlord. We went
So the
through with it.
city took the address of 14th in the district and they said, you're good to go?
We provided them with the address 1050 West 14th. They searched that address up and they said, yeah, this is permitted by this zone. So they provided an okay, but 1050 did not fall in their jurisdiction. They have a 1050, but it wasn't this postal code that we have.
So they have a 1050?
Yes.
Oh my.
an east 1050, but
And we have a west.
Provided them with west. We said W 1050, west 1050.
or they didn't check. Very
Yes, that may be
That's good enough, and they didn't look for the W or the E.
exactly.
Wow. Okay, so you're not an account, so we do this for a reason, right? It's not like we're just trying to upset people.
Of course.
There is a reason. We're trying to protect certain areas for certain businesses and jobs, and we've certainly light industrial. So you're not an accounting firm.
No.
You are building software for accounting firms to,
Not necessarily accounting firms, but for clients who need to have their accounting done in a certain way to give it to their accountants.
right, okay. Mr. Milburn, I'm just wondering, have you understood it at this level? Did you actually know they went to the city of North Vancouver, Mr. Milburn?
The decision was made by licensing staff. I'm just representing the licensing staff, so I don't have all those details in terms of the initial interactions. Based on the information submitted at the time that we evaluated the license, it was denied. So based on the information we had at the time, I think you folks have continued to provide additional information trying to clarify. That would be the information that wasn't potentially at the disposal of the license officer when they made their decision.
So this information that we're hearing right now is new information to you as well? And as the director of that body, can you provide me with your perspective, given this additional information?
Yeah. If council wishes to refer the matter back to the licensing officer, we could look at it relative to the other permitted uses in the zone. I mean, accounting was the description given to the licensing officer when they made the decision.
Okay, I'm going to move that we refer this back then.
I just want to get our options out on the table just to make sure we understand that before we go. Are there any other clarifying questions from council? Councilor Pope?
Mr. Milburn, I'm wanting to know why we specifically prevent or have policies that prevents accounting firms from being in this area.
Yeah.
It seems strange to me.
Thank you, Your Worship. So looking back at the report that went to council in 1992, when the zone was last amended to create this distinction, it was a conversation specific to a constrained type of office uses that were deemed appropriate for this, what was industrial commercial location. So at that time, traditionally offices where lawyers and doctors and financial institutions and so on would be located would be in more commercial locations. This particular property, it was a brand new zone. It was a site-specific zone. And the intent was to try to find something that was a bit of a hybrid. So a commercial industrial mix of uses. And so an analysis was done of what types of offices would be appropriate. And the types of offices described were things like engineers' offices, surveyors' offices, architecture offices, where they might have both a component of office space, but then also maybe a fleet, and they might be doing some diagnostic or laboratory work in addition to their work. So there would be something that fit within the industrial context. And then specifically, they turned their mind to types of offices like financial institutions, brokerages, office uses such as accountants. And they basically, the decision was made to distinguish those and to say that those wouldn't be appropriate in this setting because the nature of what they were trying to create with this particular zone. So the council today turned their mind to this issue and said accountants was not a type of office that was appropriate for the CD9.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. So it seems pretty clear to me that this is an outdated policy that needs to be changed. We shouldn't be making it so hard for small businesses to be up and running, especially in a district south of Walmart, where there's tons of offices and tons of light industrial. And again, just like it was last week, we shouldn't be putting up barriers to offices opening, particularly when we're in this climate of needing to support businesses to get on doing what they do for this community and other people. So I absolutely I will not be voting in favor of the recommendation.
we haven't put a motion on the floor yet. I was going to get clarification of the
Oh.
different options available to us. I was just asking clarifying questions from the applicant first, but then I was going to get Mr. Milburn to clarify the different options available to us. You say, if it's that we believe there's been a misunderstanding of the actual use of the facility, then your recommendation is to refer it back to staff for further investigation. Otherwise, we can start a process to do a text amendment or change of legislation, or we can continue to uphold the denial, which would be interpreted by staff to mean that we've determined that it's an accounting office being used in this space, and therefore we're exercising the denial on it. That'd be three options that.
Pardon me. Yes, those three options I think are fairly clear. Either uphold the denial, direct staff to amend the bylaw in some way to permit this use, or refer it back to staff with the information provided tonight.
I'm gonna move referral back to staff,
Second.
and this I think we need to do further investigation. Second by Councilor Murray. I think we need to do further investigation into this, because if it is the nature of it that it's a tech business that's remote in nature, then it would not be excluded by the provisions of the zoning. If it is, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it is an accounting office. And unfortunately, there's reason to be confused about that, since the website says that you
Accounting.
do bookkeeping services, personal tax preparation, and a whole bunch of stuff that give the impression that you're running an accounting office. But I'd be interested to see what staff come back with as an investigation into it. And but I think that what's presented here doesn't line up with what staff have presented, and so I think it'd be good to go back and review it. Councillor, any additional comments?
Well, I was just gonna say, just on what Mr. Milburn was commenting on in regards to the zones, we've got a lot of zones like this. In fact, all of Dollarton was zoned very specifically under a CD zone to build out certain industrial uses. We didn't want it to be taken over by office space. We wanted it to be used for light industrial and commercial to accommodate bigger industrial needs such as the ports, et cetera. We have lost an enormous amount of light industrial that we haven't been able to make up over the years. And so there is, but I do believe in the future, there is a review for us to look at some of these zones, but not one-off. It should be a comprehensive look at zoning for these areas because things change. And, you know, given that you may have made a mistake where you thought you were and you weren't, and I really appreciate that. And we're going to look into that. Because we're going to let the city know too that we ran into this problem, because it's important, right? We are still two municipalities. So I think referring back to staff is a very reasonable way to expedite your needs and get your business license addressed. And then we can look further at improving some of these challenges that we've had.
Councillor Pope?
Thank you. Well, I agree that referring it back to staff will achieve have the likely outcome that you want, which I would agree with. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, this is a bylaw that was established in 1992. It's obviously not valuable to the community anymore. So let's not do just a Band-Aid version of, you know, referring it back to staff, getting them to do some more work on this, having the business owner spend more time on doing it himself. Let's just give this business owner his business license and move on. And the other point I wanted to make is that I just don't want to see staff resources bogged down once again with, you know, running around to try and make something happen, when really what we should be doing is moving forward with changing the bylaw, period.
So obviously this approval isn't a referendum on the question of whether the zoning bylaw exists and has provisions. You bet you are. You're next. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor Little. I'm not going to be approving the a vote to refer back for essentially the same reasons put forward by Councillor Pope. I want to see these people on with their life and running their, frankly, I don't care if it's an accounting business or a software business in this location. I do thank staff for their comments. I do thank my council colleagues for their comments, but I can see no reason why we should not allow an accounting service or whatever the service is at this location while allowing architects, engineers, surveyors, computer equipment and software development. I don't see any reason why we would make it difficult for this business to be set up in the district. Not only would I support this application and the text amendment, but I would support a broader rezoning review so that definitions of professional services are more consistent and would include things like accountants and other professionals. The existing zoning which priorities some types of professionals over other types of professionals, in my view, is arbitrary and certainly not fitting with the times. Thank you.
Councillor Back.
Thank you, Mary Little. I don't have too much to add to Councillor Hanson and Councillor Pope's comments there. I think we need to do in this case what's best, most expedient for the business. Referring it back to staff is adding another step that is completely unnecessary at this point. I think we should be having a look at the zoning in this area and the limitations that are caused by an outdated bylaw. But in this case, I think we need to let this business move forward and continue to operate. I think there's general agreement around the table that we don't have any issues with an accounting or a software business operating in a second floor space in an area like this, particularly when some of their clients, as they mentioned, are automotive, which there's lots of in this area. So I have no problem with this business operating in this area. I don't support an additional step. I think we should just let them continue to operate.
So the next person I have is Councillor Ma.
Sorry, just getting my notes. Although I feel accounting services could benefit some businesses in the area, the district has zoning bylaws in place to articulate council's wishes for a specific area. And in the absence of compelling reasons, we should abide by our zoning bylaws. There are valid reasons to limit the types of businesses in light industrial areas. It will cause unintended consequences in lease rates if we allow all sorts of business in light industrial areas. I actually support the staff's decision to deny the business license because as it currently stands, the definition of professional offices in our bylaws specifically does not include offices of accountants. I believe there's no compelling reason at this point to change that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We're all very interested to hear Councillor Forbes's position on the matter, I suspect. Okay. Well, what I'll I just want to follow up on the question. So I think Councillor Ma is quite correct. The challenge is if you give all the same uses to light industrial that you have in commercial, then over time the lease rates will match commercial because the uses are there. And so the challenge is we separate the uses on purpose because commercial tends to be quite dramatically more expensive per square foot than light industrial. And so we try to separate the uses out so that you'll have the high-end commercial professional office service spaces, and then you'll have a little more rust buckety areas, places that aren't maybe as kept to the same kind of standard that go after the light industrial users. And so the problem is, if we as a council are honestly having the discussion that we're just going to turn light industrial into commercial, we're just going to put the uses from one into the uses in the other, then I think it would have a very negative deleterious effect in our planning within our community. I do agree with the more modern way of doing these things, which is the qualitative approach, which is instead of saying yay or nay to an accounting office, a gun range, a billiard hall, all of the old designations that we had in there, we did it more qualitatively, where we actually like the EZLI zoning, which is in the neighboring to the west of this site. The EZLI talks about the nature of the type of business that may be there, the type of contact with customers that may be there. And I think it is more flexible at allowing businesses to change over time. I don't think that's what the discussion is about today. The discussion today, it sounds to me like we have an applicant that has been treated as though they're an accounting office, even though they're saying they're not actually an accounting office. And the worry I have is that we're going to try to have a broader discussion about zoning in general, and it's going to dead heat us on the question of their license, or have us forced to deny their license and start the process all over again. So I am looking for a little conciliation from council on this particular issue. I get that we want to have the broader discussion about the nature of businesses in these light industrial spaces, but I really don't necessarily want to do that on their business application denial. Councillor Forbes, looking to you for some comment on the matter.
Thank you, Your Worship. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You raised a good point, and so did Councillor Ma, about that these were set up for certain reasons and certain qualifications. Now, I can agree also that if this is as old as 92, that it probably deserves a look at, but as you say, that's our issue to deal with, not the issue at hand tonight. I just think there's some doubt maybe that how this office functions, it's advertised one way, and the application, the qualifying factors for the application are a different way. And also just, we need to find out why this happened between the city and ourselves. But I do think referring it back to staff would provide some value. We can at another time look at changing the classifications, but I mean, we need to have a thorough understanding of, is the business as it's described on its webpage, or is it as the owners are describing it tonight? So I would like to refer it back to staff.
Okay. Thank you, Council. So there is a motion on the floor that has been seconded. Councillor Hanson, additional discussion?
Yeah, I just want to push back on the idea we're talking about industrial, light industrial. What we're talking about is we've got two lists of professional offices. These are allowed: architects, engineers, surveyors, computer equipment, software development. All good. And then we've got a list of things that aren't allowed: accountants, lawyers, health-related, therapeutic, and rehabilitation. I just view that as entirely arbitrary and unsupportable. That's what we're voting on. It's got nothing to do with light industrial.
Technically, we're voting on the motion that's on the floor, which is to refer it back to staff or not. And so that's been moved and seconded. I see no further discussion on referral back to staff. Prepared to call the question. And Councillor Ma, we can't see you at the moment. I know you were mobile, but so I'm going to need you to audibly say your vote. All in favor? Sorry, this is of referral, Councillor Forbes and Councillor Ma. All in favor of referring this back to staff for further investigation? And all those opposed to referral back to staff?
Sorry, I'm in favor of referral. I'm just having little technical challenges here.
Yeah, no, thank you. So the item passes with Councillors Back, Pope, and Hanson opposed. So we're going to refer this back to staff for further investigation, and we'll see if they can be satisfied that you're operating more as a tech business, not as an accounting business. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
But this is a good one. This is one for the book. I can for sure. It's a good one. I can't wait to tell the city. Thank you. There we go. You can chat outside. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so the next discussion we have is the item 4.2, 2025 to 2029 financial plan amendment. And Mr. Daniluk is here. Mr. Daniluk, do you have some opening comments on the matter?
Thank you, Your Worship. The financial plan amendment bylaw before you tonight reflects direction from council since adoption of the original bylaw last April. as well as revisions to estimates, deferral of work, and recognition of external funding. Changes to capital projects greater than 250,000 are also highlighted for council's attention, and this is generally considered a housekeeping amendment. It's important to note that council also has an important workshop on the 2026 budget coming up on November 10th, where staff will provide an update on our projected financial position for next year, and council will provide direction on its preferred budget scenario for 2026. I'm happy to answer any questions from council on this housekeeping financial plan amendment.
So just to get it on the table for discussion, I'll be supporting the financial plan, supporting the staff recommendation here. Is there a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Murray. I just want to be clear. I mean, you've characterized it twice now as a housekeeping matter. And so have there been significant changes in the capital planning? Specifically, we have a number of people in the community that have raised concerns about the pace with which we're proceeding on the gravel field conversions that had been committed to by council in the past.
So there are no proposed changes in this version of the financial plan. We have an opportunity to bring that forward to council on November 10th if council would like us to do that. And of course we will. Like other municipalities right now, we are facing a challenging year. There are senior government decisions impacting most local governments. And so with that in mind, we think it's important for council to consider all changes to services and potentially affordability for our ratepayers. And that's why we've worded it the way we have.
So if we wanted to redirect surplus grant monies towards the conversion project, that would be a discussion for the November financial meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you very much. Councillor Murray, your comments?
Thank you, Mayor Little. So just on what you've just brought up in regards to page 2 of the report, page 14 of our package, in regards to the fact that there's few options available to offset the cost of gravel field conversion. I just want to, that whole program was seen as the middle ground for the larger infrastructure projects of full artificial turf fields. It was brought forward by Mr. Joyce, our former director of engineering, to say this is kind of the middle ground. We could do this. We could increase significantly the play of those gravel fields if we put turf down, because we've got puddles and potholes, et cetera. It was seen as that mid-range solution. So now to wipe it off the map, because we're in a funding challenge, I do think I'm having a challenge with it. Now we have deferred other projects where we've gotten grant funding. Can you speak to that a little bit more? If we could utilize those funds to commit to get one done next year, and then look at the other. I know there was originally 3 sites chosen. I think the Kilmer location is the most suitable, and the drainage work up there has already been done around the park. There's been a lot of work done up there. So it's the most, shovel-ready project for a carpet. Can you just speak to that a little bit more, Rick?
Sure. Through your worship, Councillor Murray, we feel it's very important for staff to bring forward the updated financial position, because things have changed so much looking out. So tonight you're seeing a housekeeping amendment for 2025. This particular field could likely be built in 2027. And we feel it's important for you to understand what the picture looks like in 2026 and 2027 before you make that decision.
Okay, so if we were to pass this amendment tonight, is that going to negate us from giving direction that Kilmer field be done with surplus funds or grant funds that have come in from other projects?
We could certainly look at that and bring back something for an option for November 10th to show you what it looks like. We would also show you what would have to come off the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to be looking for in regards to that budget process is a real understanding as to the level of and quality of infrastructure that we are implementing currently, which I feel in some cases is above and beyond what we need to implement, at the expense of projects such as this gravel conversion. And I think that is the meat of the discussion I want to have going forward. And Mr. Stewart, if you're on the line listening to this, I also want to understand how we used to look at our budgets and how we used to look at our infrastructure and what has changed in regards to the standards of some infrastructure and the costs. I've also asked for an update on the consultant fees for operating and capital again. I've asked for that to come forward to that budget workshop as one of my questions. I know that we were above $7 million in 2023 for consultant fees, and I'd like to see what that number looks like for last year. And I agree, we are in a very challenging situation financially. But I think there's been a big change in regards to the standard that we're implementing for some things. And I need to have I need to understand that there's what's nice to do, what we must do, and what we'd like to do. I think that's right.
Must, should, nice.
Must, should, nice. And I think we don't go back to that often enough. And I think we need to. And I think council needs to have a better understanding as to those costs versus cutting of things that have been the solution that we have brought forward, not the community, but our own staff brought forward the solution of conversion gravel fields as an example. And now we're taking them off the plate. I won't be supportive of that going forward. I want one put in. And I also think we need to look at the system in regards to field use and how we're able to, you know, maybe rework the system to accommodate more needs. Am I into my 1:30 or am I going to be able to come back for 2 minutes? Oh, good. Then I can come back for my 2 minutes. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, but again, the November meeting is the one where we're talking about the budget writ large. Today, we're just talking about the changes from the spring budget to now. Councillor Back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate some of the incorporation of some key operational changes within this amendment. Things like the placemaking initiative, funding a total cost of $187,000 per year over the next 5 years, funded through the Film Reserve Fund. I think we're already seeing some positive results from that program, and I'm pleased to see it continue. Obviously, there's some external funding that's welcomed for some important safety programs like wildfire and fire smart programs, transportation programs like the walking school bus, as well as the North Shore Transportation Survey. While we invest in transportation planning, I am disappointed that we still have an absence of a dedicated operational budget for something that I brought forward, which I think would provide an immediate safety measure, and that's a paid crossing guard program. And I hope that that's something that we will continue to look at as the transportation plan comes back to council, because I believe it's a high impact safety measure that is essential for protecting children around schools. And so I hope that that is going to be part of a future discussion. In terms of the capital prioritization, the amendment confirms that capital projects continue to be increasing due to construction inflation. We know this, but we've made promises to the community. And I think, you know, when it comes to the turf field example, as Councillor Murray was talking about, the one gravel field conversion was kind of the bare minimum that we promised. And now staff are recommending that this direction be deferred to the 2026 to 2030 financial plan process because there's few options available to offset the cost without deferring other critical work. But when I look through this report, you know, there's some contrasting expenditures. The Lynn Valley Village Renewal Project that's budgeted for over $3.3 million. is one that stands out to me. And so I think when we look at these capital costs, I want to be careful, especially when we're talking about surplus funding from other projects, grant funding. I don't want to get in a position where we're pitting up, one user group against the other. I know that the majority of this council voted to defer the Spirit Trail Eastern Extension, which I did not support. But if it's being inferred that we would be spending some of that grant money to build a turf field and not build a Spirit Trail, I wouldn't be supportive of that. I think we should be scaling back the budget for every capital project by a measured percentage, a small percentage, and we take a look at every single one and where we can scale back a little bit. Because I think that across the board reallocation would provide a dedicated funding pool that would be necessary and could fund a gravel field conversion, for example. So I guess as we go forward and have these financial plan discussions, I would challenge staff to look at every project and where we can scale back a little bit, rather than, taking money from a deferred project and putting it towards something like a field conversion. But those are just sort of my initial thoughts.
Thank you, Councillor Beck. I've got Councillors Pope and Hanson. Councillor Pope.
Thank you very much. I'm absolutely opposed to cutting some of the key projects that this community has demanded in the past and that we've also promised. I think I would think differently if I didn't see that there is a different way of looking at our budgets. When this comes back November 10th, what I would like to see is that we look internally first at some of the expenditures that we make in the operation of the district. And I can easily, just off the top of my head, come up with many expenditures that I think are wasteful, that are currently made. And I can just throw out a few examples. We have a council liaison position that, in my opinion, and the opinion of several others on this council, does not need to be replaced. That is an underutilized position. That's $100,000 a year plus benefits. That's just one example. We also don't need to be sending staff to the Union of BC Municipalities Conference in Victoria like we did recently, not at the request of council. It was a meeting that was completely for elected officials. It was very productive, as we've heard over the last few weeks from everyone who attended. But we did not need 5 staff members to be there, to be staying at the hotel, to be having per diems, to be eating out at restaurants. And I think this community would be aghast if they really understood where money is being spent within the district these days without even council's authority or knowledge. So I would like to see that tightened up significantly before we even start any discussion about cutting other types of projects that people have occupied these council chambers for over and over and over again, demanding that the community get this kind of thing: turf fields, soccer conversions from gravel fields, the Spirit Trail. All of these things we've heard so loud and clear from the community that they want. And I've heard a number of councillors around this table who previously said yes to the vote for funding these things. And the other thing that needs to be very significantly looked at in the November 10th budget REIT workshop is how this information is presented to us. Because again, there was $10 million given to us from the provincial government in 2022 for things like the Spirit Trail and for other types of recreational facilities. And that is what this community has over and over again said that it wants. And we've also spent tremendous amounts of money, staff, time, and resources doing engagement surveys only to confirm that. It's been repeatedly confirmed in surveys that the district has done that people want and need recreational facilities and outdoor recreational facilities and active transportation. So I do not want to see us reopen the discussion of things we've previously voted on and that this community has previously told us many times that that's what they want.
Thank you. Councillor Hanson.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you, Mr. Danilek, for your comments and your management of the district's finances. Thank you to council for their comments. I appreciate them all. I will support this financial plan amendment. I do view this particular vote we're casting tonight as non-consequential. It's a housekeeping amendment. The important discussion is what's going to occur with respect to the 2026 budget. Obviously, we don't have that before us tonight, and we are not in a position to give detailed comments with respect to it. But I mean, obviously, as a matter of philosophy, we need to find a balance that maintains our most needed services, the must-haves, the most needed services and capital investments, while keeping tax increases at or below the current level, which is 5.5. Below would be better than at 5.5. And maintaining debt and reserves at a responsible level where we're leaving the district's finances in at least as good shape as we found them. And I do believe, as well as has been stated at this council table, there are potential for savings. How could there not be? And those as well should be put on the table. So all of that is what we're going to be again discussing with respect to the 2026 budget. And I do look forward to that discussion, look forward to a good outcome from that discussion around that budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hanson. Okay, I see no. You weren't your second time speaking last time around, but what I will just say is, sorry. Oh, Councillor Ma, first time speaker, Councillor Ma, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll just make it quick. I support the staff's recommendation. There are some concerns, but I agree that more pressing discussions will occur on November 10th. You know, we can all kind of, put out our positions now in anticipation of that meeting, but I think it'd be more prudent to save our discussions for that point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I see no further speaker on the matter, so I'm prepared to call the question on the motion. The staff recommendations, what's been moved and seconded. Prepared to call the question. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Okay, thank you very much. And as I always say when we have these financial discussions, don't hold back your questions until the night of the meeting, please. If you have other concerns or feedback for the budgeting process, it does help our staff to make changes and amendments if we have that information in advance of those meetings. What was the date of that meeting, Mr. Danilek, for the next phase of the budget?
November 10th will be the budget outlook. We'll have a brief discussion about the budget with Finance and Audit on October 21 as well.
I'm trying to recall, is that one where we get the budget on table as a first time thing, or will we have the budget ahead of that meeting? A draft budget ahead of that meeting?
No, this is
Very
because of our
early.
financial position. It'll be our early strategies for direction from council to staff on which items should be included and which items should be excluded.
Okay. November 10th.
Yeah. On October 21st, we have our Finance and Audit Committee meeting where we normally focus on financial policy. And so we'll have some brief updates for that committee as well.
We'll look forward to those meetings. Okay, Mr. Milburn, did you have an additional comment?
Just an additional very quick point to note that the concern raised tonight with respect to staff attendance at UBCM, I believe the city manager indicated, or CAO, pardon me, indicated intention to report back to council on the dealings of staff and council. So if council doesn't have that information already, we'd be happy to report back. Thank you.
Looking forward to that information back. Okay, All right, council, we've completed the businesses this evening's meetings. We normally have an opportunity for reports. Would anybody like to make a report at this evening's meeting? Okay, we've completed the business. I'll accept adjournment. Councillor Murray's offered, I accept. Thank you very much to staff for your preparation of the reports for tonight's consideration. Thank you to members of the public for sticking through this meeting, and wish you all a fantastic week. Good night.